Hello and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to entirely the wrong part of the day to be out as a landscape photographer. This is the Stiffkey Salt Marsh. That way is the beach, that way is the car, and right up there, right pretty much at the top of the sky is the sun. So we've got some really harsh light, so doing any landscape is probably out of the question, in fairness. So I've resorted to a 40-150 f2.8 because it's on a Micro Four Thirds camera. We have a ×2 magnification on the crop factor, so on a full frame equivalent that's a 80-300, and in my bag I've got a 2x teleconverter. So with the 2x teleconverter I have the opportunity of pushing that up to a 300 native full frame equivalent 600mm lens, and on a day like today it kind of gives me quite a lot of creativity. Now, not to get stuff in the distance because it is hot, and what we've got in the distance is heat haze, so basically we can't focus. What we do have is a lot of interesting fine detail here on these salt marshes, and that's exactly what I'm shooting. So here we have just a dried out area of the salt marsh where the tide occasionally comes in, and what's really interesting about this is just the way it's all cracked and there's such detail in it. But also, and I'm not sure whether the video camera is picking this up, the array of colours in it, from kind of dark salty brown to light salty grey and even light brown in it, is pretty tremendous. So we're focusing on the detail of that, and I'll put a picture up in just a second. There's another shot here. I'm sceptical, I've got to say, as just how good these are going to be. But again, just looking over another little creek here. Tripod low. I'm zoomed in at about 50mm, or just below that. So what's the camera tell me? Need to close that. So 46mm. And f11, so we've got some focus right the way through it. The focus point is pretty much the clump of grasses, whatever they happen to be. In the middle there's a little island, and 3/20th of a second. And the other thing here is I'm trying to get the reflections on the water down, so I've got a polarizer on the front, but I don't yet have a 72mm adapter for this Lee 105mm polarizer, so I'm literally just holding it for a second, and that'll do the job. So I found this composition looking straight down this old pipe. Wonderful old weathered oak, I imagine. Supports on it, they're completely destroyed. And it just goes off right the way down to, well, the sea, I imagine. Haven't followed it. Long lens on, we're running at 70mm on it, and focusing on the next one of these supports, and we're at f8, and because we're only kind of 3 or 4 meters focus point, we've got a really nice drop off on the depth of field down there. So we've just got this leading line going straight the way through. The horizon is right at the very top. It's not even on a third, it's just blue. So I need to come clean. This doesn't work. You heard me say that, yeah, the lack of depth of field was deliberate, and indeed it was. But in the back of the camera it looks rather different from this, and it doesn't work because that depth of field is so shallow. Your eye is drawn to the centre of the frame because that's where the leading line runs you, but the centre of the frame is totally out of focus. By design, I admit it, by design, but it doesn't work. And it's a lesson learned. It could have been so good. I think I'm going to have to go back there and do this again. What do you think? Do you think it works? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to give that like button a little nudge. It all helps the channel out, and the likes help immensely. Thanks a lot. While I'm out here in the blazing sun, virtually cloudless sky, there's a couple of wispy ones over there, and actually, crikey, even the moon can be seen up there. The one thing I want to talk about here is these things. I think screens used for framing and such are both an absolute blessing and an absolute curse. Now, in situations like this, I can't see the screen. It's just too bright, so I'm not using it. I'm barely even using it to review anything because I can't get any shade. I'm viewing back through the viewfinder because it's a mirrorless camera, it's an electronic viewfinder. I can review the photos through the eyepiece. And it's something I've been wanting to do a video about for quite some time. So why not embed it into this one where it's actually really important? You see, my point about framing on one of these screens, I'm not sure it helps photography, because I can't see the detail on the screen when I'm framing up. I can't do any edge control. I don't have entire focus because I'm looking at something not in isolation. I'm looking at something on the back of the camera or twisted or whatever. Yeah, and it really makes things rather difficult, particularly if the light is so bright that you can't actually see the screen properly anyway. When looking through the viewfinder, I have an entirely isolated view of what I'm trying to take a photo of. I can do all of the edge control. I can check to see things near my eye. I can move around the whole thing very, very quickly and notice details that might make the composition worse, or indeed it might make it better. But I've started using the viewfinder a lot more recently because I'm getting better compositions from it. And useful though the screens are, I think they can be overused. And of course a lot of us are used to using cameras on their phones and nice big bright screens on the modern ones, and it's become natural to kind of do that and look. Whereas actually I don't think that's a huge boost to photographic compositions. What do you think? Let us know in the comments down below. As we're walking towards the sea, which is still an incredibly long way away, I wouldn't even make it out behind me, but it's that way. And I've seen this rather nice looking S curve down here. So this is just a colour thing. We've got the yellow of the sand, the blue of the water reflecting the sky. So we've got a lovely colour contrast there. We've got the sky being an azure blue as well. So it's a colour and pattern, and I hope this works. And it's one of those times where the blue sky, I think, is going to really play to the strengths of the photo. Normally, we don't, as landscape photographers, really want blue skies. But I think this is going to do it. Now, despite the fact that we've got absolutely blue sky and more light than we could need for this, I've got to use a tripod. And this tripod desperately needs a good clean up later because it is absolutely full of sand now. Now I need a tripod because I need to get higher to get a slight top-down view on this curve running through here, and I'm going to have to put this pretty high here, and also because it's high, I've got to use the screen, which is something I said earlier I didn't really want to do, but of course it's coming into its own. If only I could see it. Let's reset the camera and turn it on. And I've got to say, this is really hard. I've just got enough of a view on this to see what I'm doing. I can just about see that screen. It is hard. That's better. But again, I can't edge patrol it. There's too much stuff on screen. I can get rid of it. Hold on, that's better. And because I'm high looking down, I've got a much better view of the curve. And it's I think that framing's okay-ish. It's so difficult to tell because the screen is so difficult to see. I've got the sky just above the third top. F10, 500th of a second, a third of a stop underexposed. Let's take a look at the histogram on that. Histograms look absolutely fine. Hope you like this shot. It's very minimalist. There really are lots of opportunities for decent photos on a beach such as this, so long as you're looking for the right kind of stuff. Big wide vista, well, there's not a lot to it, is it, unless you're really going for that minimalist look. But it's the patterns that are really doing it. The way the sea, as it retreats and comes over the sand, creates these rivulets, which here it's just blue. The reflection of the sky coming off the water is amazing, and we just got a lovely pattern going through. And I'm going to see whether I can get 3 good photos here to create a triptych of this wonderful place. So at the minute I've just got the shot looking through there, bit of an angle on the furrows, rivulets, whatever they're called. I'm sure there's a real name for them. So there's one nice pattern shot. Let's see if we can find two more. So after I thought about this a little more, I realised that actually I'd probably be better shooting them in a portrait fashion. So I've reframed this. Got a bit more depth. Let's push this to 18 because I've got more depth and I really want to get maximum focus throughout it. And the colours through it are really, really nice. And I think actually I might just get some other shots almost from the same point as where I am. There's hardly any need to move. We've got the lovely movement of the water coming down, so there's possibly something there. We've got a lovely S-bend over here. So let's try that. I think I found another shot for the triptych. I'm in quite closely, in fact I'm very close. I'm in a 150mm portrait, just targeting the detail in the sand over here. And again we've just got the glorious brown, should I call it brown? It's really yellow, isn't it? Yellowy brown, lovely sand with the blue reflective water on the top. I'm quite happy with that one. And I think I've got just the third shot here. This one's got a little shell in the top third quarter on the right, and again, as before, just simple colour and pattern. And I think I've got the triptych now. Well, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please click the like button and subscribe if you'd like to see more. We'll see you on the next one.